So today we're going to be taking a look at how much M1 Finance paid me out in dividends, as well as how much Vanguard has paid me out in dividends over the last month, as well as entirely for this last year. So we're going to break this all down here on my portfolio. But before we do that, I do want to quickly mention that if you are interested in starting up with M1 Finance, which is what I mainly use for dividend investing, they have a sweet promotion here for the month of January, where if you open up an account and deposit $1,000, you get a nice $30 bonus on top of your actual deposit. So I'm going to have a link in the show notes down below that does help support out the channel, but it gets you that nice little bonus for this month exclusively. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and actually jump into the actual portfolio. So let me go ahead and switch over to my smaller camera. You guys can see over here, I kind of wrote that down. $30 bonus, $1,000 is what you need to actually deposit, which is a great way to start off your portfolio if you are interested in finally getting into investing, if you haven't done so already. So with that getting out of the way, let's go ahead and clear that up there. We're going to be taking a look at this portfolio first with M1 Finance. This is where I mainly invest for long-term dividend growth as well. You can see here. So currently my portfolio sits at $19,000, almost $600 so far. You can see in my all-time, I've gained about $3,700. That is with dividends as well as other things that I've sold that made a profit. For those that are curious, I have an unrealized gain of almost $3,100, which is about 18.78%. So we are doing pretty well here on the portfolio. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to do even better, hopefully in 2021. With everything that we're doing and how we have things set up, it's really important to now just build up on top of all of that. So just as an example, for a lot of people here too, let me go here. So you can see this chart right here. It shows you value over time. So yeah, we're sitting at pretty much 19,600 now. I'm recording this while the market is still live, so it's moving up and down. But I want to show you here, if you are somebody who's just getting started, I technically started this account 2 years ago with $100, and then I just slowly built up over time. I got to $1,000. What was that? Pretty much almost 12 months later. If you can, like I said, if you could do that $1,000, you get that nice little bonus. But you can just see here, I just slowly started investing over time. Once I got more comfortable, I kept increasing that amount. And then it just kind of got really more of a habit than anything else as far as why I kept investing over and over again. So really happy with the results. Just this last month, you can see here, of course, because we're going to be talking about the dividends, our total gains right over here is over $1,030. Earned dividends is going to be different than our actual dividends, so keep that in mind because I'll break down who paid us, how much they paid us, how much the total came out to, and compare that also to last year as well, because that's always important to see how we're doing with our growth. So if you are by any chance interested in seeing like all of these, I do from time to time share the different stocks that I have in this portfolio entirely. So if you are interested, make sure you follow down below, hit that subscribe button so you guys can, see when I release new content pieces that you guys can, check those out as well too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our activities feed here, and I'm just double checking, making sure everything is still looking good on screen. I am cutting off a couple of the things over here, but we'll figure that out. So here, this is where it shows all my activities. So I'm going to go ahead and break this down to my dividends only. Again, my face is kind of covering it, so I might just jump over to my screen only. Let me see if I can do a little bit more zoomed in. Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is jump down to the beginning of the month for us tracking everything down here. So you can see at the beginning of the month, we actually got paid out 3 different times from companies here. So you can see Aflac, we got paid out $4.45. We got Pfizer at $2.28, and we got Visa at 51 cents. Then on the 3rd, we got paid technically twice from Discover, but altogether it comes out to right here, $3.17. On the 8th here, we got paid out from Johnson & Johnson at $2.42. And then we got Microsoft here on the 10th paying us out at $4.23. And then we had a special dividend from Costco. This was awesome. So this was pretty much unexpected, nothing that I tallied or, was seeing it coming through until the very last moment. But this right over here, we got $10.75 in special dividends, which is so fantastic. Keep in mind too, I'm going to clean this up. Keep in mind all of these dividends that we're earning here, all of this is being reinvested back into the portfolio, usually by the next day once it gets put into the account. So on the 15th, I got paid out twice. So one of them was from Next Era Energy for $2.94. Then we got Realty Income, which is, in case you don't know, our monthly dividend paying stock. That one is for $2.79. And then on the 17th, we got paid out technically once from Home Depot, but for some reason it came in twice. One for $2.43 and another one for $1.03. We'll clean that up. And then same thing with Lockheed Martin. For some reason on the 24th, it sent me twice, but one of them was for $2.63 and the other one was for 22 cents. And then the last one here, you can see on the 28th, we got paid out from our ETF, which is the Vanguard VOOG. This one paid us out $5.19 in total. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys over to my spreadsheet here. I just got to zoom out for a second just so you guys can see this. This is a spreadsheet that I put together that I just keep being in track of the different incomes that I have coming in from all the different platforms that I'm utilizing, mainly just focusing in with M1 Finance, which is this one, of course, and then Vanguard as well. If you guys are interested in this, I do have it entirely for free in the show notes down below for you guys. So, obviously, if you're using my links for different things, it does support me. This one is entirely free for you guys. So because we are finishing off the year, you can see on average for 2020 in this account, we are making $15.33 a month. And that's split up across the board. But that's when you take a look at the fact that the very first month of the year in January, we made a whopping $2.39. So we'll go over that a little bit more once I zoom in. And then the total that I've made for dividends and actually got paid out for them so far is $192.53. So that's extra money that I got in that I was able to go ahead and deposit throughout the last 2 years. Because the first year we made $8.52, and then this year we made $184.01. So let me go ahead and now zoom in, and I'm going to kind of adjust this temporarily. I got to hopefully remember to move it back afterwards. So we can see right over here. Let me get my little pen thing. So for December of 2020, because that's what we just added up right here, we made a total of $45.04. That's a huge amount of money that we got coming in from dividends. If we take a look at what we made from the month or the year prior in the same month, we only made $2.77. So massive increase from the year prior. But I also want to kind of compare it to some of the other stuff here too, right? Because if we compare it to September of 2020, which was the last month of the last quarter, that was $30 total to the $45. Now, I always kind of mention too, because I like comparing, the certain months with each other. So September and December go together. Same thing with June, because these are the same months in that given quarter. So they're the third month in every quarter. You can see those jumps. So we went from June at $14.53 to $30 in September. So that's over double right there. And then from here, we go all the way to 45. So that's a 50% increase pretty much right over here from September to December. So not as much from June to September that we saw. Well, from what we saw from June to September, we saw that 100% increase, and then we saw a 50% increase from September to December, which is not bad. We started investing a little bit more into some growth stocks as well. But still, when you consider the fact that the last month of Q1, we only made $4.89, then $14.53, then $30, then $45.04. I can only imagine where we're going to be in December of 2021 comparatively to, December of 2019. So those are going to be some really nice jumps that we're going to hopefully see throughout the next, 12 months total. If we look at the quarters for 2020, of course, you can see here, Q1, we made a total of $9.63. That was my dog shaking. And then Q2, we made a total of $23.88, which is great. Then Q3, we made $63.21. And then Q4, we made that $87.29, giving us that whopping total of $184.01 for the entire year. Again, that is pretty fantastic considering the fact that we're just kind of building all of this stuff up. Actually, let me come back up here on the screen. I think that I'll take it a little bit further away, but yeah, I mean, that's a lot of work that we're putting into to build up this, of course, but over time it's going to compound and it's going to just build up faster and faster for us, because if I take this money and get it reinvested in my portfolio, and these companies are also doing dividend increases, which is a big deal, that is also going to have a huge effect on us as well too. And I'll show you what that means before we go into our Vanguard portfolio. So I'm here on seekingalpha.com. Let me go into my portfolio that I put together. So we get dividend increases, and one of them that I got this last month was from NRZ. So a lot of people have this in their portfolios. So if I go to their dividends, right now their forward dividend is going to be 8.15%. So if I go to the dividend news, right over here, you're going to see, let me get my little pen out. You're going to see right over here that they declared a 20-cent dividend, which was an increase from their 15-cent dividend increase, and that's a 33% growth. Now, keep in mind, this company had a huge cut just a couple of months ago because of the whole, everything going on with 2020, but they are going back and increasing their dividend seems like every single quarter so far, because they did it back in June, they did it in September, and they did it in December as well. So this is a little skewed off, but this is still part of the goal of making sure that I have companies that are increasing those dividends, because now I was expecting originally 15 cents for my dividends that I owned, but instead I'm getting 20 cents per dividend that I own, which is fantastic. But to kind of go and look at something a little bit more, I guess you could say realistic, Lockheed Martin recently did a dividend increase as well. And this is what makes going and building up a dividend portfolio. Actually, hold on, let me go here really quick. A dividend portfolio really, really important for the long term, because if you look at trying to get 4% on your money, that's not a lot. But if companies are increasing their dividends by 6, 7, 10, 12, 20% every single year, then you're going to get more money on your money. So as an example, with this company, Lockheed Martin, they increased their dividend by 8.3%, meaning they went from $2.40 a dividend, or $2.40 per dividend share that they own, to $2.60 per dividend share that they own. So all of a sudden you're making an additional 20 cents per share, which might not sound like a lot for some people, but if you have quite a few shares of a company, that can start equaling out a lot of money. And if that happens year over year, you're going to start seeing huge increases in your dividend yield, because that's the thing that most people don't talk about, is the dividend yield. Seeing that something like Lockheed Martin right over here, their current yield is 2.94%. So to some investors, if anything is less than 3.5 to 4%, they might not be interested in investing with that. But I actually still see that as a great yield, because their growth rate on average for the last 5 years has been over 10%. So that means that their yield is going to go up. And the cool thing is, on Seeking Alpha, they actually have this thing called yield on cost. So if we click on here, what this is going to do is it's going to show us, and it kind of works backwards. So this is actually the current year, and then this is 5 years ago. So it's kind of technically working this way. So normally the charts work the other way, but that's how this chart works, backwards to forward. So you're reading from right to left. So what this is saying right over here is, if you invest today, you're getting that 2.94% yield if you invest today. But let's say you invested about 5 years ago, February or January of 2016, buying into that at that point probably had the dividend yield around that 2.5 to maybe 3%. But if you already own the company back in 2016 and they increased their dividend yields the way they have been, let's say you didn't buy any more shares, your yield, you can see it right there, would be at 5.03%. So all of a sudden now you're getting 5% on your money versus 3%. Granted, it took 5 years, but you're getting those payouts. You're getting the growth on the stock as well, because the stock was only worth 206 back then, and it's, what is it now? 353. So you're getting growth on the value of the shares, as well as the growth on the dividend yield as well. So there's a lot of cool factors that play into, building up those dividend yields to build up that income too. Because when we take a look over here, we're seeing that growth from December of 2019 at 277 to the growth in December of 2020 at 4504. Really considering the fact that companies are going to be increasing their dividends. Obviously, I'm putting more money in, so that has a huge factor. But there's a lot of those little things in play, like those dividend increases, that are going to cause my money to be worth more for me, because now I'm getting paid more for already having ownership in Lockheed Martin or NRZ or any other company that decides to increase their dividend yield at a healthy amount. Because pretty much anything that is less than, the rate of inflation, which would be about like 2% or so, you're essentially getting less money every year at that point. Because if the dividend yield doesn't move up or doesn't do anything more, whatever you're getting paid out is effectively worth less money than it was the year prior. So Ideally, I like to keep companies that are increasing their dividend yield at least 3%, maybe 4% at the lowest, but anything under 1% usually is not going to be looking too good. I do have AT&T in my portfolio, but that's probably the only one that kind of breaks that rule. So with M1 Finance, I think we finished up there. So let me show you guys actually what I made from Vanguard as well. So let me see if I could jump in here. Okay, so it logged me out. So I'm going to log back in and then we're going to jump in. All right, so I logged back into my Vanguard and we can see over here. So we have both my IRA and my wife's Roth IRA as well. So we're going to go ahead and show you exactly what we got paid out for this last month as well. So we got paid out on my end 3 different dividends. The first one is with the Vanguard Explorer Investor. This one is ticker number VEXPX in case you're interested. This one paid out $9.81. Just kind of a heads up, these stocks or these mutual funds don't actually pay out a lot of dividends in comparison because they're really focused in on the growth side of things. So just keep that in mind. So that got paid out on the 21st. And then also on the 21st, I got paid out from my Vanguard 500 index fund. This is ticker number VFIAX. This is very similar to Vanguard VOO from a lot of the other different investing platforms. So if you are invested in that, this is the same exact thing, just a different ticker number. This one got paid out $167.41. And then on the 16th for my account, I also got paid out from Vanguard US Growth Investor. This is ticker number VWUSX. And you can see that one is also only $3.24. So this one is a fairly low amount as well, just because it is focused so much on the growth side of things. Just want to make sure, I think I'm going to be cut off here. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. I think we're good right there. So this next one over here, this is for my wife's retirement account for her Roth. So on the 21st, she also got paid out from the Vanguard 500 index fund. This one was for $45.44. You can see she has significantly less than what I have in mine. So the payout is going to be a little bit lower because she has about 11,500. I have about 62,000 in that account as well. So if we actually go back into our sheet over here, so let me go ahead and show you guys right over here. Let me zoom in. So I'm going to go away here for a second. So right over here, you can see typically I only get paid out at the last month of every quarter with Vanguard. So total that we've earned between our 2 accounts there is going to be $225.90. You can compare that to what we made in December of 2019, which was $194.24. So a nice healthy growth. And then we can compare that to the last quarter that we got paid out, which was $192.08. So kind of healthy growth right there. A little bit, when it comes to this, because Vanguard with my retirement, I'm maxed out at how much I can put in every year. So it can only grow so much so quickly. But you can see here, so our total that we've earned for 2020, including all the quarters together, is $779.02. Of course, all of this does get reinvested into the portfolio, so I'm just having it go right back in. Last year, we made a total of $650.29. So in total, let me zoom back out just a tiny bit. So in total, we've actually made $1,429 in our Vanguard dividends. And we're averaging for 2020, we were averaging $64.92. So, you can see the nice growth from here to here. And then, hopefully for 2021, we're going to see some really, really nice growth there too. I also have it here in my spreadsheet where we can actually have all of it together. So this is both my Vanguard and my M1 Finance together. So in total for December of 2020, right here, you can see we made $270 in total there. For the whole year, we almost made $1,000, which is fantastic. So, a couple more $100 and we would average out to, $100 every single month, which right over here, you can see for 2020, we actually averaged out $80.25, made a total of $1,621 in total dividends across both platforms. Because even though with the Vanguard one, it is retirement and I can't pull that money out until much later, that's totally fine. M1 Finance, my goal is to have that money being used in my mid-40s so we can go do travel, we can do a whole bunch of other things with it. But I think based off of where we're going, I think we're going to be able to hit some goals. I know a lot of people love to do the $1,000. Actually, let me switch this over. So let me go here. So I know a lot of people like to do the $1,000 goal when it comes to, let me see if I can do this here really quick. I'm like talking and trying to do things at the same time. So right over here, $1,000 is a lot of people's goals, 1K to make a month, which is great. That's $12,000 a year. And I definitely want to hit that goal too. But I also have goals to hit even higher ones, right? We've talked about it before here on the channel. I want to get closer to $10,000 a month. And ideally, I want to hit that within about 15 years. That is a terrible K because it's kind of like bleeding into the 10. But my big goal is to do that so that way in 15 years, we can use that money for travel. We can use it for anything we want, whether we need it or don't, we can reinvest it. And I usually use a dividend calculator, which is this thing right over here. Let me go ahead and go back into the small screen here. So this dividend calculator just kind of gives me an example of what I can expect based off of all of my current numbers. So if we just kind of plug this stuff in, like 19,600, if I average out, currently I'm doing 800. My goal for 2021 would be to do $1,000 a month. And then our current dividend yield, I believe is 2.18%. And then if we do dividend growth, we talked about growth earlier with like Lockheed Martin and stuff, right? You can see here, like this company averaged out 5 year, or in the last 5 years is 10%. I don't think it has it on here, but I know that my average is about 13% dividend growth between all the companies that I have. So you can see like, here's my averages for all of these companies, but I think I want to be a little bit conservative and just say like, we can just say 9% for this example is dividend growth rate. And then annual share price growth, how much we expect our shares to grow every year. We're just going to go ahead and do 10%, and we're going to do 15 years here. So what this is going to do is it's going to give us some really good examples of where we're going to potentially be, and if we can hit the goal of 10K a month by the time we hit 15 years. So you can see here, making sure I'm not in the way here. So the first year we'd earn $427. Our portfolio will be worth about $20,000. If we skip to year 5, we have about $2,700 in the portfolio as far as dividend payouts, and then we have about $92,000 worth in value. And then we can skip down to year 10. We got about $11,000 or $12,000 in dividends for the year, which would actually hit us on the 1K a month goal. So that would be in about 10 years if we kind of keep everything consistent. And we'd have about $250,000 in the portfolio. So that's a lot of work and a lot of dedication and very consistent for 10 years. And then if we jump down here to year 15, we're looking at $45,000 in dividends and about $600,000 in the portfolio's value. So if we bring this back out, so if we do this, so 45,230. So if we divide that by 12, obviously that's not going to get us anywhere near the 10K goal by year 15. So that's about almost $3,800 a month, which would still be pretty good. Obviously, in 15 years, inflation is going to have an impact on that kind of money. So we got to really kind of consider, where we can see this money being worth it long term. So if I jump into 20 years, so in 20 years, we're looking about $180,000 in dividends. So you can see how massive these jumps happen just because if everything stays consistent and we are having healthy growth, we're going to see some crazy compounding happen for us as well too. So obviously for us, 10K a month, we need 120,000. So we'd be around year 18 or 19 as far as being able to hit that goal. So then we have to say, okay, if I want to hit it in that 15-year marker, what do I got to do? Let's go ahead and clean all that up. So maybe we shoot for $1,200 a month. Let's see how, lower that. So let's see how that goes out. So if we do that, making about 52,000. So still nowhere even close to where we want to be. And this just shows you the power of compounding interest, that the sooner you start, the faster you're going to get to those goals. So for us, let's go ahead and say we can do $2,000 a month. Obviously, maybe not right away, maybe something we lead up to in the future. But if you can do $2,000 a month, you can see here in 15 years, everything's going to be worth about $81,000 in dividends. That's obviously pretty healthy, but still not yet to the $10,000 a month if we want to do that within 15 years. So again, you can keep just increasing this until you find a spot that works, or you can start working on companies that have really good dividend growth, because if this is at 10% and doing $3,000 a month, you're going to start seeing some really close numbers of what you need to be able to hit that goal. That right there would hit the goal. 10% growth on average. So I'd have to pay attention, do my research, make sure that if companies are falling behind on that, 10% growth, that we're removing them, and that we would be putting about $3,000 a month in this account to be able to have it grow. And then hitting 137,000, which would be well over the $10,000 every single month. And the portfolio would be worth about 1.8. So those are kind of the things that we are considering when it comes to like what we want to do and how we want to achieve them. Obviously, sitting here with, $19,600 in this portfolio, about $73,000 in our Vanguard portfolio. Those are just steps to help us get there. Obviously, the $10,000 a month is mainly just from this M1 Finance portfolio because this one is going to be a taxable account, so I want access to it early, where the retirement one, of course, we have to wait till we hit retirement age to be able to pull that money out. But we're still working in unison between both because I think that's important for a lot of people to make sure that you have kind of your eggs in separate baskets for different financial goals that you want to achieve, right? Like for me, traveling and doing a whole bunch of cool stuff in my mid-40s is going to be something that I want to make sure I have that money available for me. So that's what this money is going to be in here for. Ideally, if I can live off of the dividends while doing the travel, that's where I want to focus in. But if we need to pull some of that money out, in 15 years at $1.8 million, that would be fantastic. But can we put in $3,000 a month? Obviously, I can't do that right now. It takes time, right? You saw when I was showing you guys here early on with the value of the portfolio, I was putting in maybe like $10 a week for a couple of months, and then it got more comfortable. I moved up to 20, then 30. I did 40, I did 60, I think, for a little bit. Then I jumped to 100 when the everything kind of dropped down in the market. And now I'm doing about $200 a week minimum. And then hopefully, I'm jumping to 250, 300, and then getting closer and closer to those goals. So that way, those numbers that I'm trying to achieve are something that is possible, because the last thing you want to do is, try to go for these goals. Obviously, if I miss them, it's not a bad thing, because, right, if I, let's say I can only end up doing $2,300 or $2,400 a month, right? So with all these numbers, I would still be at 112,000 in 15 years at 1.4 million. So it wouldn't be as big if I can hit $3,000 a month, but still something relatively great to have every single month. Can you imagine getting $112,000 a year in dividends? So what does that equal out to? About $9,344. Not too shabby. But again, that is one other caveat is the fact that all the dividends I am earning now from all these years, you can see here, all of these dividends, they're getting reinvested in their portfolio too. So I'm not taking this money out over the next 15 years, right? So, year 5, I'm not taking that $5,000 that I've earned in dividends out of the portfolio. It's just getting reinvested and compounding again, which is helping it increase year after year and keeps growing. Because if I pull this money out, it is going to slow my opportunity to hit those goals, because doing $2,400 in a month, but then what is it, year 12, I'm hitting 47,000 in that year. It's a huge extra chunk of money that's going in every single month, every single quarter, to continue to build up that portfolio. It's huge, right? And sitting at 19,000 is not bad. Obviously, for having this portfolio for about 2 years now, that's kind of how long I've had it, because I started, when was it, January 23rd of 2019. So having $3,700 in gains, this percentage I don't really care for, just because it's money weighted returns. So it's just the actual gains. This is stuff that I've either earned dividends from, have unrealized gains, as well as gains that I have realized and then just put back into the portfolio. So I might have sold some stocks that I made some profit off of, and then I just added them back in, and that's all calculated to that amount. Also too, just as a quick reminder, if you are somebody who wants to get started with investing, such as my account right over here, check out the link down below. That is a link to M1 Finance. Help support out the channel, but if you invest $1,000 in the deposit originally, you're going to get an extra $30 bonus for the month of January. So make sure you get your investing journey started. $1,000 is going to get you a nice leap forward, and then you can start investing on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis, whatever works best out for you. I also want you to keep on watching more content here on the channel, because I think it will help you out when it comes to learning and growing with your portfolio. So check out my next video right over here. My name is Dennis, and I will see you guys in that next video.